Hello, everyone, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today, we're going to dive into a powerful and emotional story about a young girl named Maya, a child caught in the middle of adult mistakes, hidden schemes, and painful truths. From a tense confrontation inside a family home to a dangerous plan unfolding in the shadows, parts 1 and 2 reveal how far people are willing to go in the name of family and how fragile a child's peace can be. Will a mother's determination be enough to protect her daughter? And when regret comes too late, who truly pays the price? If you find this story meaningful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss our next videos. Have you ever wondered what happens when an innocent child is caught in the aftermath of adult mistakes? In today's story, a single prison visit, a father's tears that came far too late, and a silent conspiracy hidden behind the word family push a little girl named Maya toward a dangerous fate. Maya is too young to understand why adults cry. She doesn't understand why places that should feel like home make her feel scared instead. In her world, family isn't always safety. Sometimes, it's the source of fear itself. Her mother, Huyen, has already endured enough pain and loss. After everything she's been through, she wants just one thing: peace for her daughter. But there are other adults who believe that blood ties give them the right to reopen old wounds, even if it means dragging a child back into the darkness of the past. All it takes is one prison visit, a few tears of regret, one selfish decision. That's all it takes to put Maya's future in real danger. Can Huyen protect her daughter until the very end? Is the prisoner's repentance sincere, or just the cover for another scheme? And what happens when the people behind it all decide they've waited long enough? Because in this story, every small detail matters. And sometimes, peace is as fragile as a single breath. That afternoon, Onong Kanan's house felt unusually heavy. Dark clouds gathered low in the sky, smothering the sunlight and casting everything in a dull gray haze. The heat lingered, thick and oppressive, as if the air itself had stopped moving. When the old iron gate creaked open, Huyen instinctively lifted her head. Her heart skipped. She stood there, silent and unmoving. No makeup, no lowered gaze. Her face was pale with anger, her eyes red, but burning with a terrifying determination. This wasn't the woman who had once been pushed out and looked down on. This time, Huyen didn't enter as a rejected daughter-in-law. She entered like a mother backed into a corner, with nothing left to lose. Bajoa froze when she saw her. Her lips trembled as she tried to sound calm. "What are you doing here?" Huyen didn't answer right away. She closed the door behind her. The dry click echoed through the house like a final punctuation mark, ending all the lies and half-truths. Without greeting, without hesitation, she walked straight into the yard. "I came to tell you something," Huyen said. Her voice shook, but it was sharp, steady, unyielding. Bajoa felt the air thicken around her. "I'm not going to let you take Maya to Virtu." The words struck like lightning. The house went silent. Bajoa's eyes widened, her hand clutching the fabric of her dress. "What right do you have to stop me?" she snapped. "She's my granddaughter. Thuc is her father. What right do you have?" Huyen let out a bitter laugh. She took another step forward, her gaze hard as ice. "Right?" she said coldly. "What right do you have?" Her breath came heavy as she spoke. "The right to throw me and my daughter out in the middle of the night? Or the right to hire someone to follow my child?" The words hit Bajoa like a slap. She stepped back, fear flashing across her face before turning into anger. "That's ridiculous," she shouted. "I'd never do something that immoral." "Stop pretending," Huyen said quietly. Her eyes cut straight through every excuse. "I know everything. I know you want to take Maya to see Thuc in jail, and I know you hired someone to watch my family." This time, Bajoa had no answer. The silence swallowed the room, heavy and suffocating. It was a confession without words. Tears rolled down Huyen's face, but her voice didn't break. "Do you know how scared Maya is?" she cried. "She's terrified even of the dog barking at night. And you want to drag her into a prison to meet someone who doesn't even understand why he's behind bars." "Thuc is her father," Bajoa yelled, cornered. "He has the right to see his child." "No," Huyen shot back. "A parent's right does not include hurting their child." Her eyes burned with pain and fury. "And you, as her grandmother, don't have the right to use my daughter as a tool for your son's redemption." She wiped her tears and stepped closer. "Listen carefully," she said. "As long as you keep coming near Maya, as long as you keep plotting behind my back, I will not stay silent. I will do whatever it takes to protect my daughter." For the first time, Bajoa felt afraid, not of anger, but of something far more dangerous, a mother's resolve. The yard fell quiet, broken only by the wind brushing through the leaves. Bajoa's fear slowly twisted into resentment. This wasn't over, not even close. Later that night, Bajoa sat alone at the old wooden table, her phone clenched in her trembling hand. Huyen's words replayed over and over in her mind, burning her pride to ash. Her eyes darkened with hatred. She dialed a number. "It's me," she said sharply. "Don't wait any longer. Bring Maya here." A pause. Then a man's voice asked, "Are you sure?" "I want her to see her father," Bajoa snapped. "Do what you need to do." She slammed the phone down, chest heaving. Nothing else mattered. Not Huyen, not Maya's fear, only her goal. When Onon Khan entered the room, he immediately sensed something was wrong. "What have you done now?" he asked tiredly. "Go visit Thuc," Bajoa said coldly, "and bring Maya with you." On Khan stared at her, stunned. "What did you say?" "She came here today," Bajoa continued bitterly. "That woman thinks she can stop us." On Khan sank into a chair, memories flooding his mind. Maya's frightened eyes, the tension earlier that day. After a long silence, he sighed. "Maya is Thuc's daughter," he said softly. "She's my granddaughter." Bajoa seized the moment, her voice turning sly. "Exactly. She has the right to know her father." "I'll talk to Huyen," On Khan said at last, calmly. Bajoa smiled faintly. She didn't need him to convince anyone. Everything was already in motion. Meanwhile, Huyen had no idea how close the danger truly was. In the following days, the unease became impossible to ignore. A strange man on a motorcycle appeared again and again, near the market, near the house. He asked questions. Too many questions. One night, a fresh footprint appeared outside the gate. The fear was no longer a feeling. It was a fact. And as Maya slept peacefully in her mother's arms, unaware of the storm closing in, one truth became clear. She was being watched. That night, when Maya had finally fallen asleep, clutching her worn teddy bear, Huyen was called quietly to the corner of the courtyard. Under the dim yellow light, Ye's face looked harder than usual, his jaw clenched, his eyes steady, but heavy with concern. "Huyen," he said in a low voice, "I'm sure now. They're watching us." Her heart dropped. Her hands trembled as she gripped the edge of the wooden bench. She didn't speak, but Yi understood. Slowly, carefully, he told her everything. The strange man at the end of the alley, the motorcycle that kept appearing, the questions at the market, even the fresh shoe print outside the gate. Each detail felt like a blade carving deeper into her chest. Tears streamed down Huyen's face. I felt something was wrong ever since Maya met Bajoa, she whispered. I never thought it would go this far. Yi tightened his grip on her hand. From now on, Maya doesn't go anywhere alone, he said firmly. I'll change our routines. I'll watch every step. Huyen nodded through her tears. I'm scared, she admitted, her voice breaking. Then her gaze hardened. But I won't let anyone touch my daughter. Outside the house, the night swallowed everything. Somewhere down the road, a motorcycle engine faded into silence. They both knew. It wasn't over. It had already begun. The next afternoon, golden sunlight spilled across the yard as Huyen finished arranging vegetables. The sound of the gate opening made her freeze. She looked up and saw Khan standing there, his posture weary, his eyes uncertain. Before he could speak, Huyen straightened. If you're here to take Maya to see Thuc, she said calmly, you should leave now. Khan sighed heavily. Huyen, I don't mean any harm. Maya is Thuc's daughter. She should see her father. The words made Huyen laugh, a hollow, painful sound. Do you know how terrified she is every time your family is mentioned? She asked. Do you know she wakes up crying at night? Tears spilled as her voice rose. You know what Thuc did. You know why she's afraid. And you still want to drag her back into that nightmare? Her scream cut through the yard. Inside the house, Maya hugged her teddy bear tighter, her small body shaking. Yi stepped forward, placing himself between Huyen and Khan. Please leave, he said quietly but firmly. Maya needs peace, nothing else. Khan looked at them, at Huyen's shaking resolve, at Ye's unwavering stance. For the first time, he understood that words wouldn't fix this. Slowly, he turned and walked away. The gate closed behind him with a dull thud, but Huyen felt no relief. Only a deeper dread settled in her chest. She knew Bajoa wouldn't stop. That evening, Khan found himself standing before the prison gates. The corridor felt endless, each step heavier than the last. Inside the visiting room, Thuc sat hunched over, his once proud frame reduced to a shadow. Bo, Thuc murmured when he saw his father. How are you? Khan asked. Though the answer was already clear, after a pause, Thuc asked quietly, How is Maya? She's grown, Khan said, but she's afraid. The words crushed Thuc. His shoulders shook as tears fell onto the cold table. I was wrong, he sobbed. I don't deserve to be a father. Khan's heart ached. Huyen suffered the most, he said. She raised Maya alone. She carried everything. Thuc lifted his head. How is Huyen now? Khan hesitated, then spoke the truth. She's getting married to the man who protected Maya when you couldn't. Thuc laughed through tears, hollow and broken. I destroyed everything, he whispered. Then desperate, Bo, please, let me see Maya just once. Let me ask for her forgiveness. No, Khan said softly. She needs peace. Thuc bowed his head again, but after a long silence, he looked up, his gaze steady for the first time. There's something you need to know, he said. If I don't tell you now, you'll blame the wrong people forever. He confessed everything. His anger, the fear he caused, the nights Maya cried, and then the truth that shattered everything. Huyen didn't leave me, Thuc said. I heard her first. And Mama. Mama pressured her. She kicked her out. She wants Maya here for me, but I don't want that. I don't deserve it. Khan felt the weight of years crash down on him. All this time, he had protected the wrong person. I was wrong, he whispered. I really was wrong. Before leaving, he made a promise. I won't let anyone hurt Maya. But while Khan walked away burdened by truth and regret, Bajoa was already moving forward. Orders had been given. Time was running out. That evening, the village road was quiet. Huyen stood at the doorway watching Maya play inside, trying to hold on to a fragile sense of normalcy. Then it happened. A motorcycle stopped near the house. Before Huyen could react, a man stepped forward, fast and deliberate. Maya screamed. Run! Ye shouted. Chaos erupted. Yi lunged, grabbing Maya and pulling her back. Huyen screamed her daughter's name, her heart pounding as she rushed forward. Neighbors shouted. The dog barked wildly. The man hesitated, just for a second too long. Yi slammed the gate shut, bolting it from inside. The motorcycle roared as it sped away into the distance. Maya sobbed uncontrollably in Huyen's arms. It's okay, Huyen whispered, though her own hands were shaking. Mama's here. That night, no one slept. The line had been crossed, and as darkness settled over the small house, one terrifying question remained unanswered. Was this a failed attempt, or just the beginning of something far worse? This story follows Maya, an innocent child whose life is thrown into danger by the unresolved mistakes of adults. Huyen, her mother, wants nothing more than peace, but her past refuses to let go. From a tense confrontation with her former in-laws to the revelation of a secret plan involving a prison visit, every step pushes Maya closer to fear. While one side claims family rights and redemption, another fights desperately to protect a child's fragile sense of safety. As surveillance, manipulation, and regret collide, the truth behind past violence slowly comes to light. A mother's courage, a father's late confession, and a grandmother's obsession intertwine, turning Maya into the center of a dangerous game. But when the first real move is made, one question remains unanswered. Was it only a warning, or the beginning of something far more terrifying?